Hello everybody, it's Clark Commando 1983, aka Mark Ruggiero here. Just going to do a wrap-up video on my decision game Storm of Steel, which I was able to wrap up the first quarter, 1914, which consisted of 4 impulses for the Central Powers and 3 for the Entente. Just starting off with a little shot here of the cards for the Western Front, and a contingency card, which in the long run would help drive the Central Powers morale down. So you can see the dead pile's pretty high. I was fairly conservative, and even with that, anyways, the Schieffelin plan was finished, and the Plan 17 got their results. Gonna pan around here. Italy's still neutral, of course. I'm using the historical dates for entry. There's die rolls and stuff you can use. Over here we have the Austrians took Belgrade on their last impulse, which they have not much forces there, but the second Austro-Hungarian army is placed at the end of the second Central Powers impulse, and that either goes to any rail hex in Austria, so placed it right there in the fortress. Decided not to commit them to Russia, even though it looks like they might be able to use some help. I thought it was valuable to grab Belgrade while I could. A 2-to-1 assault, pretty risky, but I did well. So Serbians fell back. Of course, they'll try to defend. One thing, the Bulgarians are not in the war yet. The Middle East is not active yet because Turkey's not in the war. Over here is the Eastern Front displays that I've made, and I highly recommend the if you get the game, get the make sure it has the expansion kit. I'm going to show you a few things. I played the historical cards, so Russians don't have a shot. They got to take a city. So I was trying to get Königsberg. They really don't have too much of a shot for it, but didn't really take a whole lot of losses. So the Germans are kind of going to be in an interesting position if the game was to continue, which I'm not going to. I had hoped to play a full campaign, but after a couple weeks of real life interfering, I'm going to put it up and move on to another game. I want to say, if you watch my first video, why I like Storm of Steel. I think it's a very underrated game. Fell through the cracks. Super playable, and I'll just reiterate, very playable, like in a 3 or 4 day convention with 3 players. It has some real cool innovations. I've played probably 9 campaigns. There's the Italian front, of course, inactive because Italy's not in the war yet. You do set up the neutrals in this game before they come in the war. Western Front was pretty interesting. I was able to hold on to a little bit bigger chunk of Belgium than I usually can with the Entente. But the Germans are weakened. There were a couple of times where there were some holes in the line. Paris could have been threatened, but the French were able to, the Entente was able to do some probing attacks, push them back, reestablish the line. Both sides are bled pretty well. I had somebody early on ask me about the Navy. Honestly, the navies, if you lose the capital ships, are such a big morale hit. I don't really use them that much. I think it's fairly historical. They come into effect, later on. The Germans can try to break the blockade. Down here, you may try a couple of invasions like Gallipoli. In the past, I've done invasions in the Middle East with the Allies. It's pretty risky regardless, but can be done. Let's see. One thing that I didn't get to do, and I'm, like I said from the get-go, this is not a teaching video. I may eventually do some of those, but I'm going to get to save these because we didn't really get into production at all. Production, it's a pretty simple system. You take the, excuse me, oh my God, I'm so sorry about that. You take the number of industrial cities you control, and there's production multipliers. Let's see if they go up in 15. Yeah, see, for example, this is, whose sheet is this? England. And anyways, it gives you a number of points. The thing that's interesting is each country is a little bit different. Like Russia, their production multiple will jump, and then it actually collapses at some point. So, but it gives you what's called mobilization points, and you can see the game has divisional equivalents, and you actually can build and add units to your forces. And it tells you on the side here how many of those counters are available in the counter mix. The divisional equivalent, if you remember, that's a pretty key ingredient of the game. The units get stronger. In like 1915, you can build 3 divisional equivalents, etc. Time is how many quarters out it goes before it arrives, and then that is the cost for each unit, the mobilization points. There are petroleum points for some units. Some things you have to, of course, develop with your contingency cards, the tanks, gas. There's very few oil markers. There's a couple here, as you can see. And I believe, not quite sure. I know like in Brazil, the off map, that's where the Entente, maybe Venezuela, I can't remember. That's where they get theirs. This is the merchant shipping and the air doctrine levels. And of course you track morale also here on this chart. This is your turn record with impulses. And of course, there's some, per the scenario, you see stacks of units in different quarters. Those are reinforcements that automatically arrive. So you do get to do some mobilization, some production in the game. I wish I had a little more to say. I could give you a little more detail. I did some detailed write-ups on Facebook on the Decision Games Club page. It's a super elegant game. Some people complain. There's a section of the map that I actually just cut it off. That was a big chunk of Finland that would extend north there. Those are my dice towers for World at War. My magnetized World at War set. Isn't that cool? Anyway, so that being said, I hope the little bit that I was able to do may inspire you. I use those little dice to mark odds. I found this size here was too small. It's just a kind of neat way to reminder. One of my cool dice towers from Italy. I have a couple of those actually, like 5 or 6. I know I'm crazy. Anyways, thank you for looking. I will be doing a video on my next game. I'm planning to do, after I put this away, I'm planning to work on operational study groups, library and Napoleonic battles. Super colorful, really enjoy it. And like I said, I do these videos for my entertainment. And I hope you pull the game out. I hope you play. I'm all over Facebook, so if you get any questions, feel free to let me know. All right? Hey, thank you, and enjoy your day. Thanks. Bye.